All right. Good evening, everyone. Hey, thank you for attending. I know everybody's schedule is busy during the summer, so I certainly appreciate you carving out some time. I promise you, I try to get this done in under an hour. Typically, I can usually have things done in about 45, 50 minutes. So I like to focus on the main things and leave lots of room for questions and answers. I will be here as long as you have questions. So last week, gosh, questions went on for an hour. So I'm here for the duration, but out of respect for your time, I'm going to jump right into things. Now, Facebook friends and YouTube friends, please keep in mind it's hard for me to monitor those chat boxes while I'm running the Zoom meeting. So I'm a one man band tonight, so it's a little bit challenging, but I will circle back and answer any questions that you have. So to start out right out of the gate, I always like to put my link in. Here is a link to my calendar. If anyone ever has any questions, please book a call with me. I always tell people I love talking to everybody, learning your situation, putting myself in your shoes, and telling you what I would do. So, a lot of these programs are available for everyone. Most of them have some credit restrictions involved with them, but actually, some of the grants do not. So, but those ones tend to go quickly. So, we're going to touch on those as well. So it's a little after 7 o'clock. So I'm going to jump into things. I see we got a question right out of the gate. If you don't mind, let's see. Well, I'll look at it right now. Hello. I'm looking for land to build a house, very large garden and land that already has a house and several acres. Boy, that is a tough one, Veronica, Victoria, just for the fact that building building's tough to get grants and down payment assistance for. So for that, I would definitely schedule a call. The programs that we have available this evening, these are all for existing homes. So trying to find something specifically to build right now is challenging. And right now, the building world is actually not, well, please schedule a call with me. That is the building financing world is going through some corrections right now, for lack of better words, and that's usually a precursor to the credit markets possibly changing a little bit. So those types of financing programs are a lot more challenging. Okay, so if you're looking for a house on several acres, definitely programs out there, USDA, all kinds of programs to get you in with no money down. So, all right, with that being said, I'm going to just jump right into things. So my promises for you this evening, there is no sales pitch here. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you as much educational content as you can consume. So I apologize in advance. I throw a lot of content out to people. So try to have your cell phones ready to take some screenshots. So today we're going to go over how you can access over 2,300, is actually up to over 2,500 programs and grants. These are down payment assistance programs and grants across the country. And with those, you can use those to purchase with no money down. We're going to go over the qualifications for a lot of these programs. What does it take from a credit standpoint, income standpoint, things like that? How to structure these transactions that I help people with to get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket. And how do we find quality homes that actually qualify for these programs? We're going to give you some tips and tricks on that side. And how to get free quality experience representation. That is the key. You can have all of these things and put all of these boxes out there, but if you don't have the right representation, it is an uphill battle trying to get these programs across the finish line. One thing I do promise people, if you just follow my steps, I'll get you there regardless of where your credit is. So I've got a lot of credit building tools out there for people, and I am happy to coach people on that side. But before we go into things, let me give you a feel for some of the people that I've had the honor of working with lately. This lady, she's going to go down. I mean, I forever is one of the favorite people I have ever worked with. She actually closed a couple of months ago. Emily, she actually ran the table. She got all the money. So she was able to tap into a $25,000 grant program. Actually, it was a down payment assistance program that's forgivable after 3 years. So 25,000. we were able to stack that with a closing cost grant of 5,000, an appraisal grant of 500, a 3% gift program that went towards her down payment. So all in, she was able to score $33,134. And as long as she owns this house for 3 years, she gets to keep all the money. So that's all free money, doesn't have to pay anything back. And I have to say, Emily's determination and just the way that she willed this across the finish line was nothing short of impressive in my mind. So very, very happy to have met her. And she inspires me to move forward and help as many people as possible. The house that she purchased was actually on Freeland in Detroit. And actually, just to give you a feel for it, because the outside of the house doesn't do it justice, let me give you a feel for what the inside of it was like. Because when I connect people with these programs, I am all about quality homes. So if you look inside this, you're going to see that this home was almost a time capsule. It was an elderly lady. I mean, you could see it had a fireplace. The carpet was in good shape. It was plush. Typical 50s brick ranch, great condition. She was able to get it for $117,000. You'll see in this moment, the kitchen isn't brand new, but it's not original. I mean, it's been updated. You can see all the wood cabinets, Formica countertops. And for any of you that are in southeastern Michigan, and I should ask you, where are most of you looking? Gosh, last webinar I did, I had people all over the country. Today, I had a highly concentrated ads that were run through Facebook that really dripped on southeastern Michigan. So, but just to give you a feel for the type of home, hardwood floors throughout, this home was in good shape, top to bottom. And what really impressed me was the fact that I'm going to get to the basement. This basement had never had a lick of water in it. And any of you that live in southeastern Michigan, that is highly unusual. So this was a cream puff in my mind. Actually had a full bathroom in the basement too. So very, very excited and happy for Emily and her family. So so proud that I could be part of this transaction. So, but moving forward, let's go back here. Okay, all right. So who is tonight designed for? Well, tonight's program is designed for people that are just tired of renting, tired of the rental increases, tired of landlords that aren't doing repairs. Basically, I hate to say it, but the rental industry is really in a pretty sad place right now. And statistics are saying that there is just, I think the national right now, there's a 5 million home shortage of rentals. And they've been preaching since COVID that they were going to make some changes to get things changed and corrected. I don't know about you. I'm not seeing a lot of new rentals or public housing coming online, at least in southeastern Michigan. I actually live on the west side, actually outside of the city. And I just saw a complex that was being constructed about a month ago off Haggerty Road in Farmington Hills. And I can say with a high degree of certainty, I doubt if that's going to be affordable for the masses. So that's, in my mind, a high rent area. So also, this is designed for people that are just tired of the guesswork, whether or not their lease is going to be renewed or if their landlord's going to sell the house out from under them. I run into that a couple of times a month. A lot of people I run into are just tired of paying off their landlord's mortgage. And I get a fair amount of people that just want to take control of their housing situation to build wealth and possibly lift that next generation. I had a lady that contacted me last month that was rather inspiring. She was actually living in a 2-bedroom apartment at, I think it was $750 a month. It was a very low amount. I was really shocked how low it was. It was like, boy, it's really hard to find a house that's going to be in that price range. She was living along Joy Road, so it, that little challenges go along with that. But just the same, I was telling her, hey, in order to get into a quality house, we might have to up that payment a little bit. She was all over it just from the fact that she wanted to pay it forward. She wanted to show her kids that if not for anything else, her hard work was going to pay off for a home for her and her family. So she was looking to basically lift that next generation. So very, very inspiring phone call. So I always enjoy hearing the whys of why people want to move. Why do they want home ownership? Because unfortunately, right now there's not a lot of alternatives. And like I said, the rental market is in pretty disheartening shape. So here is another situation. Let's see another success story. Daniel actually, Daniel's mother owned this home, and she had unfortunately passed away. Daniel had two sisters, and the sisters wanted the house sold, but gave Daniel the right to purchase it. So we actually got Daniel approved for a $25,000 grant. He didn't have any money to do anything with it. So we were able to use that grant to cover all of his down payment and all of his closing costs. He didn't need to come with any money at closing. So the easiest part with that was it was actually a family transaction. So that part made it a little bit easier, but we were able to structure it where no money out of pocket. So very happy for Daniel. Glad that he could keep the house in the family. Now, my goal for this evening, I find that the biggest hurdle that a lot of people have is the confidence that you can actually pull this off and get this done. So please keep in mind, I'm going to give you all the knowledge that you could possibly need to get this done. And I always tell people, please book a strategy call with me. I really want to learn your situation so I can put myself in your shoes, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. Last week, I actually did a poll. How many people had been coming to my webinars? And actually last week, I had one person that had been following my webinars for 5 years. I had probably a half a dozen people that had been following me for 2 years. And what happens is a lot of people need to come back a couple of times, just one, to make sure I guess I'm legit. So I guess I kind of understand that in today's shady world. But number two, they need that confidence, okay? Because there's a lot of, misconceptions out there. So most of what I do is just dispel a lot of common beliefs that are out there. Number one, that you need money, okay? You don't need a lot of money. If you have, I always tell people, if you have $2,000 to $3,000, no problem. We can get you into a house. We can use the down payment assistance and grants to cover your down payment and closing costs. If not, we can ask the seller to help out with closing costs. There are lender credits that I know how to tap into, all kinds of levers to pull and buttons to push to get the money. The money is actually the easy part, okay? I've been doing this since 1987, so I know how to push the buttons to get you the money. So if all you have is $1,000, I'll make it work. I've got a gentleman right now that we're actually about to do the inspection for him. He is basically just had $1,000, and we're going to make that work, okay? I just need to know what your budget is, and as long as we communicate, we can get you there. The other belief that's out there, or limiting belief, I'll call it, is you need good credit. Okay. You don't need good credit. Okay. Below average credit works. Right now, there are several programs. As long as your scores are above a 580, you're good. So, and I also do a follow-up webinar on Saturday. It won't be this Saturday. I think the next one I have scheduled is the beginning of August. And that credit repair webinar is how to get your credit score up 60 points in 60 days. I go over all the tricks of how to manipulate your credit scores and get a quick spike. So if your credit scores are in the mid 500s, just tune in, or easy enough, just schedule a call with me. Happy to learn your situation and walk you right through what you can do there. The other limiting belief is that that you can't do anything on a fixed income. Well, I'm here to tell you Emily was on a fixed income. Kenneth, who I just got under contract with $1,000 out of pocket, he's on a fixed income. And when I say fixed income, these are people that are retired on Social Security. So granted, it's a little bit more challenging, but just the same, a lot better than being in that rental market. So I think Emily's payment might have come in around the $800 mark. Kenneth just purchased one for $100,000. His is coming in around the $800 mark. So a lot less than what you'll pay for a 2-bedroom apartment right now. I can guarantee you that. So also, I want to show you how I routinely help people achieve their buying goals. The only thing I ask you for is just help building my following. So I'm going to give you a link right now. And when you have some time, if you could please go out to, here is my YouTube channel. If you are ever looking for my content, it's out there on YouTube under Own the Roof. Okay. Own the Roof. So just go out. Actually, if you just Google Own the Roof, you'll see the YouTube channel. Now, all my webinars get streamed there. Just look under the live content and you'll see all the webinars I've done over the past possibly 2 years. So a lot of educational content that way. So I ask you to go out there. Hey, like the channel, subscribe, hit the alert button if you could, please. My goal is to try to get my YouTube followers up and my Facebook followers. So here is my Facebook. If you could please go to these 2 places and follow me, I would appreciate it. That's all I'm asking for this evening, and to possibly schedule a call with me. So it's all free. So with that being said, I get a lot of people that ask, why do I do this? How did I come to being the guy that just likes educating people on these down payment assistance programs and grants? And it basically goes back to probably about 13, 14 years ago now. I found myself in a very awkward position. See, I was always the guy that was just like, had to be the number one salesperson. I was just I'm the tail end of the baby boomers. So, we were all raised that you just needed to excel at whatever you did. Okay. I was sold this bill of goods that just work hard and do the right things and everything will be good. Life will be great. And for me, it was just never fulfilling. Okay. I used to be at the largest mortgage company in the area. It was their top salesman for several years. And after a while, I decided I could go out. You know what? I'm going to do this on my own. Okay. So I opened a mortgage company. From there, I had somebody that wanted to invest and open a title insurance company. Life was good, or at least I thought it was, but I was working and it was just not very rewarding for me because it was all about numbers. Then, unfortunately, I had something where one day somebody came to me and we realized that somebody was embezzling money. And unfortunately, it took down the title company. It was a significant amount of money. So it was a very, very cold, hard reality to have that rug pulled out from under me. But, thank goodness, at least I had the mortgage company to fall back on. But unfortunately, a year later, there came the financial meltdown, which I thought was good. But unfortunately, we had our warehouse line of credit through Chase. Chase shut down our warehouse line and I was out of business. So here I was, basically mentally spent, physically spent, and financially spent trying to go through all of these things. And I decided I needed a timeout from the real estate world after 25 years. And I said, that's it. I'm going to just go into the auto finance world. Didn't really like that much better because, again, I was just chasing numbers. It wasn't until I rebuilt everything. Now, after my businesses went down, there was wreckage. Okay. I found myself in bankruptcy, foreclosure, lost my house, you name it. I experienced it all. That being the case, it took me 2 years to rebuild my credit back. It took actually 3 years to buy a house because I had that foreclosure on there. But typically 2 years after a bankruptcy, I can get you into a house. But what happened is I learned how to build my credit back from zero all the way back to the 700s about 13, 14 years ago. And back then, it was a lot harder than the tools we have now. So when I tell people I know how to coach you how to get your credit scores up, I do. And I didn't use any of those websites that you'll pay for, Lexington Law or Credit Care or National Credit. I don't use those. I don't like those companies. They do have a service, but I think that it's kind of a hamster wheel. I think a lot of this stuff you can do on your own right now. And that's what I teach on my credit building webinar that I do. And the next one I said, I think is like August 2nd. So from there, after rebuilding everything, I actually qualified for a down payment assistance program to actually purchase a house. So I didn't really going to the automotive finance world for 2 years was good for me, but it didn't take me where I wanted to be. It was then that I decided, after being denied. So it wasn't really denied, but what happened was the loan officer decided that I didn't need to use the down payment assistance money because I still had a couple $1,000s sitting in an old retirement account. So he didn't apply to it for me. And that was still irks me today that he made the decision for me and my family to not enroll me in that program that I qualified for. So after we bought the house, because we moved forward with the sale, my wife and I loved the house. We liquidated the money. We bought the house. It was at that time that I realized that, you know what, I need to go into the real estate world and I need to start coaching people how to tap into these programs. Now, that was about 10 years ago, and I've been doing this ever since. So 10 years ago, I was running ads on Craigslist, getting people to call in, telling them about these things one by one. It wasn't until about 5 years ago that I discovered that I could do webinars, and I can teach so many more people on a webinar and give them that educational content and confidence that they can get this done. And that's where we are today. So I get more happiness out of teaching people how to get into these programs and getting them across the finish line than I ever did in all the years that I did mortgages or had my business or whatever. So this is what I love doing. This is what I have a passion for. And what I really discovered was that I'm not that top salesperson inside. What I am is the person that just likes to help people. And with that being said, it just gives me a lot of intrinsic satisfaction. So that's why I do this. So let's go into the topics this evening. So the first one, how do we access a lot of these programs? Well, first, I want to tell you there's a difference between a lot of the programs. There are down payment assistance programs and there are grants. Now, down payment assistance programs are programs that typically 50% of the time have to be repaid, okay? Whether or not you actually make payments on it, everyone's a little bit different. 50% of the time, the down payment assistance programs are forgiven after you own a home for 3, 4, 5 years. So they have some repayment component to it, and half of them are actually forgivable. Grants, on the other hand, that's free money. So we always want to try to tap into grants if at all possible first. Now, I want to give you access to an app right now that my team and I are actually developing. And the app is not launched on Google or Apple Store yet, but you can reach it through the website, nodownpayment.app. So if we go out there, this application is actually going to tell you what programs you qualify for. So that's why earlier I was asking if anybody had any addresses and if anybody put anything in here. Okay, got it. I'm just going to put in a sample address. Here's the house that I grew up in, 16801. There it is, Lamphere in Detroit, 48219. Okay, if you look here, once I put that address in, you'll see this qualifies for 23 different programs. Crazy. Now, if I enter some information here, I'll just enter populate mine, hit program, get details, and then you're going to be emailed a list of all the programs that you actually qualify for. So let me go back here and see if I can get, okay. Here is a actual email. So you can see 23 programs up to $30,000 is available for that house on Lamphere in Detroit. And if you go through, you can see Michigan State Housing Development Authority, that money is dried up, but they do have 10,000. Let's go. Okay, here. Federal Home Loan Bank of New York currently has a second mortgage that they will give for $30,000 in assistance. That's a lot of money, especially if you start looking at like $150,000 house. That's 20% down. So now I don't know what the repayment terms are, if they even have to be repaid. Who knows? It could be a forgivable loan. We don't know. But there are plenty of programs out there. Here, National Faith Homebuyers, City of Detroit down payment program, second mortgage up to 50% of the purchase price. There is an asterisk. I think that one might be indicates the program is temporarily out of funds. Now, what I tell people is, if you are seriously looking in the next 12 months, you need to reach out to me so I can get you into my database if you're looking in certain areas. So for example, City of Detroit, let me put you in my database, because once that program gets refunded, and I don't know if it is, but if it gets refunded with money, I'm going to call you right away and we're going to get you pre-approved for it. Okay, let's do another one. Go back here, and any other properties out there that anybody wants me to run. You can actually go by the different areas too. So let's say we want to look in, let's clear this out. Let's say you want to look on the east side. You can actually do the city, Roseville. Here you go, Roseville, Michigan. Boom, 16 programs in Roseville. Someone just put in 48235. I don't think it'll do zip codes. It might. No, zip codes don't work. I need an address, Carrie. So if you have an address for that zip code, happy to put it in. Let's look out west. Hey, another city. Let's try Warren. Warren, Michigan. Macomb County, 17 programs in that county. Let's do that city, excuse me. Let's try Livonia. Livonia, Michigan. Hey, 18 programs. So all we have to do is get details, hit the program, enter your contact information, and here we go. Oops. And then there you can see. Okay, this is for Livonia. 18 programs, $30,000 available right now. Crazy. All right. Dion, let's see what you got here. We've got a couple here. Let's try these. I have a feeling a lot of the ones in the city cross over quite a bit, but let's see. We've got, okay, Coyle, Detroit. Okay, here's one for Carrie Coyle. 23 programs. You're going to find that's a common story right now, especially when we start looking in the city. East Point, I think that was 18. I actually ran that for a customer earlier, Lisa. So there are all kinds of programs out there, but let me give you the app again. So it's nodownpayment.app. Let's get that. Now, we are having some issues. If you do this on an Apple phone, Apple's not playing very well with it. For some reason, I think it might not be accredited with Apple yet. But if you have an Android system, it's working just fine. Okay. So, but if you need me to run those, just reach out to me. Always happy to run scenarios for you. So this is the application that will tell you all the programs that are available. Just enter the address, get details, put in your contact information, click get program details. And like I said, you'll be emailed that list instantly. Okay. All right. So how to access the programs. Now, if you are outside of the state of Michigan, it works there too. This platform works across the country. Last week, I had people from, I think it was Georgia, outside of Atlanta, Connecticut, Nevada, Las Vegas, California, and New York. Worked famously in all of those areas. What's crazy, you start going to other states. So if you have any friends or family members that live in other areas of the country, don't get me wrong. Michigan is great. It's my home state. I love it. It's offering $30,000. That's a lot of money. But as crazy as it sounds, California, $160,000. New York, it was Brooklyn, $260,000 in down payment assistance. crazy numbers. We need to ask our legislatures to start, hey, you need to start rallying like they do in some of these other states to get some money for us. Don't get me wrong, 30,000 is great, but wow, I was blown away when I saw 160 and 260 for Los Angeles and Brooklyn was where the search was. But anyways, all over the country. So you have any friends or family members, please share that link with them. Have them reach out to me. Always happy to connect them with people in other areas of the country. All right. The second thing, qualifications. What does it take to get approved for a lot of these programs? Well, we've got to show income. That tends to be the issue. The biggest things are their income and credit. There's several components to basically getting approved for these. You got to have the income. Your credit has to be there for each program, and you've got to have the money. Well, like I said earlier, you only need $2,000 to $3,000, and if you only have $1,000, we'll find a way to get it done. Okay, credit. I have the tools to help build your credit up, so please don't be shy that way. Like I said, I've been through the worst of it with the credit, so I'm in tune with what works and what doesn't work. And there are a lot of tools out there to turn your credit around in a very short period of time right now. So income. Some of these programs do have income restrictions, so you can't make above a certain amount for, I don't know, maybe 50% of them. You do need to have a couple years of employment. Doesn't have to be continuous with the same employer. We just have to document that you've been working somewhere 2 years. They prefer to see W-2 people. That's people that actually have the taxes taken out of their checks, pay stubs. Now, if you are self-employed or 1099, it does work, but we need to have 2 years of tax returns. They average your income over 2 years. Now, when it comes to your income, they have what they call debt to income ratios. They don't want to see more than 45% of your income go to your house payment and your debts that are showing up on your credit report or might be pulled out of your checking or savings accounts. So let's say, for example, you've got income of, let's just say $4,000 a month. That's $1,800 a month going to your house payment and the bills that are showing up on your credit report. So if we take 18 and maybe subtract 500 for your maybe credit card or two and a car payment, that leaves $1,300 left over. $1,300 right now is actually buying a $150,000 house in southeastern Michigan. And coincidentally, that's the price of a 2-bedroom apartment right now. So with the programs that I help connect people with, it may not be your forever house, but I'll tell you what, we're going to find you a nice quality house for the same price of what you're going to pay for a 2-bedroom apartment. And we're going to get you in there with just a few $1,000s. And what's great about that is after a couple of years, you're going to notice the amount of equity and wealth that you're going to be building over the course of time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's a slow, methodical way to build up long-term wealth. And you got to live somewhere, so you might as well own the roof that's over your head. So it doesn't have to be your forever home. Heck, I even have a fair amount of people now that are like, you know what? I know this isn't going to be my forever home. Use it as an investment tool. What a great way to get your first investment property under your belt. Some of these programs, you can buy 2-family, 3-family, 4-family units. Now, they're a little harder to come by, and it is tough. It's like threading a needle, but hey, I do it all the time. So I just have to be upfront. I just don't want you to think that there's a ton of multifamily units that it's going to qualify for. But patience and persistence is the key, and we will get you there. Okay. So we went over the income. As far as credit, right now, the minimum credit scores are 580 for a handful of the programs, and then they kind of go up from there. The more higher your credit, the more programs you could possibly stack on top of each other. They don't like to see recent late payments or recent collections. As long as you have no late payments or collections in the past 12 months, you're good. If you have an isolated late payment, we can usually explain that away. Okay. But if there's a habitual late payments, we might run into some issues. Best to give me a call. Happy to go through your situation and tell you how it works. As far as assets, I told you, you need $2,000 to $3,000 out of pocket. If your budget's not there, as long as you have 1,000 between now and the time of closing, we can usually sharpen the pencil that much if needed. Now, the properties though, the properties have to be in habitable condition. Now, what do I mean by habitable condition? It's got to have a working kitchen, bathroom, um, things like that. Okay. Roof has to have a little bit of, it's got to have at least a year or two of wear left on it too. Okay. So no major fixer uppers. Cosmetic stuff's usually not an issue. Okay. So those are the qualifications for the programs. How do we structure some of these transactions? Now, I apologize. This slide is a little bit confusing here, but let's just focus on the left-hand side for now. Suppose I always like to say $150,000 house because that's really the sweet spot right now. So $150,000 house, the taxes, if you look on the left-hand side in the upper left-hand corner, the taxes would be about maybe $2,000 a year. Closing costs might be $2,000. Homeowners insurance, $1,500. Title insurance, $1,200. So your total to get in without a down payment, it's going to be about $6,700. Now, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, let's just say it needs a down payment of 3%. Actually, this might be 4%. Say it's $6,000. Okay. Typically, it doesn't need to be that much, and your closing costs, we said, were $6,700. That gives you a total to buy this house with closing costs, down payment, everything of $12,700. A lot of the programs that I connect people with offer about $10,000. So if we subtract 10,000, that means all you're going to need is $2,700. Now, if I can get the seller to pay $1,200, now you're in with only $1,500 out of pocket. If I get the lender to pay some of your closing costs, it could go down even more. A lot of the programs do require that you have at least 1% of the purchase price into the transaction. 1% of $150,000 is just $1,500. I apologize. I know I go through this stuff fast, but if you need me to go through it on a one-on-one, happy to do it. Okay. It's not uncommon for me to write these numbers down on every specific house. Actually, my showing agent was busy last weekend and I was out showing houses, and gentleman really liked the house. And I loved showing it because I actually was able to get a piece of paper and a pen and actually just wrote it out on the hood of his car and said, okay, this is what you should be able to get into on this house. I think I got it down to I think it was actually $1,800 for him. I said, you should be able to get into this house under $2,000. Take this piece of paper. If this number does not come in at the time of closing, I'll make it come in. I mean, I do this all the time, so I know what the loan officers are going to charge. Sometimes there's a little variance in there, but with that being said, I have no problem going back and saying, hey, wait a second. This is how I told them. This is how I structured it. So I like to be held accountable. I like to hold everybody accountable along the way. Okay. No one likes surprises when it comes to money. Okay. It happens. Sometimes the story changes. If the story changes a little bit or something pops up that we didn't know about, okay, we'll let you know. But more often than not, the numbers are the numbers and we'll get you there. Now, on this $150,000 house sample, if you look in the bottom middle, you'll see this is where the payments would be on $150,000. Principal and interest payments, $948. Taxes would be about $200. Homeowners insurance, $125. Mortgage insurance, $75. The total is going to be about $1,350 a month to get into it. The same as a two-bedroom apartment right now. Again, that's why I tend to focus on this area. It kind of makes it a no-brainer at that point in time. And like I said, it doesn't have to be your forever house. What I find is that people get in, live there 3, 4, 5 years, then wake up, and it's all of a sudden this $150,000 house is worth $200,000. Now you've got $50,000 in equity plus what you paid down in payments. So it's the way it compounds over time that makes the difference. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about, finding homes. Now, locating quality homes isn't always the easiest thing. It's getting a little bit easier. The market's shifting right now, in my opinion. So it's no longer that seller's market that we saw 2 years ago. It's quickly turning into more of a neutral market where I'm getting offers readily accepted. I always tell people it's never too soon to look. Go to my website, micitysearch.com. I'll put that link in the chat box right now. Whoops. Go out here, start looking for houses. I think it's important you get educated with the area that you want to move. It's important you know how your money spends. That way, when value is placed in front of you, you're not going to think twice. You're just going to jump out right on it. Okay. Because the good houses still sell quickly. Okay. Now, in order to be successful and find quality houses, I always coach people to focus on the homes that have been on the market for a couple of weeks. And the reason I do that is right now we are seeing a high percentage of deals falling apart. The good houses, the houses that are in great shape, turnkey condition, they're still getting bid up a little bit. But what's happening is people are waking up, a few days after the offer is accepted, maybe after the home inspection, and they're like, wait a second, I think I may have overpaid for this house. As a result, 20% of the transactions, in my opinion, are actually coming back on the market. What we want to do is we want to focus on that 20% because there's still some good houses there. They just got bid up a little bit too high. Now the sellers are going to have more reasonable expectations because the deal fell apart. Since it might have been overpriced in the beginning, now the sellers are probably starting to chase the market because they had it priced too high in the beginning. But we still want to see why is it still in the market? Is there some deferred maintenance? Does it need a little bit of work? Are the taxes too high? Does it have assessments? Don't know. Everyone's a little bit different. So I always look at those to try to find out what that baggage is before we even schedule a showing. I also find that the homes that have been on the market a few weeks, the sellers are going to be more flexible from a negotiation standpoint. Now, what I ask of you, though, is as you're looking through the houses online, and everybody's online looking for houses, that's the best place to start. I want you to start looking with the eyes of a seasoned agent or a seasoned investor. I want you to start looking at the roof. Okay, make sure that roof's got some mileage left in it. When you're looking at the rooms in the house inside, look at the ceilings. Make sure the ceilings look tight. No waves, no stains. Make sure the floors look straight. And most importantly, look at the basement. Look at those basement walls. Make sure there's no stains. Okay. When I go and look at a house, first thing I look at is that roof, and then I always go right down to the basement. That tells the story. Is there water? Because, water in the basement or a bad roof, those are expensive items you just don't want to deal with. That's the baggage you don't want. Okay. So those are the things I always tell people, gravitate to those things and then start falling in love with some of the upgrades, maybe the newer kitchen and bathroom and things like that. But we got to make sure the bones are good first. So those are my ways to find good homes. Now, how do we find experienced help? Don't let someone be your learning partner. Okay. A lot of people say they're familiar with these types of down payment assistance programs and grants, but I don't know too many people that are out there doing webinars, educating people on them, teaching them how to use them, how to structure the deals, and how to get in with very little money out of pocket. That's where my team and I come in. I'm here to try and earn your business and represent you. So if you are looking to make a move in the next few months and you want to tap into some of these down payment assistance programs and grants, let me make that introduction to a lender. Okay. Like I said, you don't want a lender to be your learning partner. You want to deal with a mortgage person that does these routinely and knows how to get them across the finish line. This is an art. Okay. We need someone that when things pop up, they're not going to think twice about going in and sitting down with an underwriter and find out, hey, what do we do to get this across the finish line? And that stuff happens. Okay. So you need to have seasoned representation for a loan officer as well as a real estate agent. So typically what I'll do is I learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and then I'll tell you what lender has the best program. You can see all the grants that are out there. Okay. There's plenty of grants and down payment assistance programs out there, but which lender is going to represent you in the best fashion and give you the most amount of money and charge you the least amount in fees? So typically what I do is learn your situation, connect you with the lender that's going to be best suited for you, communicate your story. That way you're going to have a leg up. Okay. I'm not going to connect you with a lender unless you've got a 90% chance of being approved. It's just, if you're not going to be able to get approved, I'm going to coach you how to get there and give you a good predictable timeline to get there. But what's nice about me handing you over to someone that's seasoned, I can hold them accountable. Doesn't happen very often, but somebody doesn't return phone calls and I have to jump in. If you go, let's just say Bank of America. Bank of America is sitting on billions of dollars in down payment assistance money from fines back in 2008. Back in 2008, they were fined $3 billion. Their fund, last time I heard, it was still close to $2 billion they're sitting on. So if you go directly to Bank of America, huge organization, chances are I'm not going to know the person you're going to talk to. It could be somebody out of their Jacksonville call center that's a phone jockey. They're not going to take a call from John Collins to complain that they're not returning your phone calls. Okay. So there's a lot to be said for aligning yourself with a team where I can instill some accountability to get you across the finish line. In addition, I'm a realtor. Okay. I'm here to help you. So I will help you identify those programs. We're going to find the best quality homes that are going to fit on that program. We're going to structure the transaction, most importantly, so you can get in with as little money out of pocket, because that's just the way I roll. I find it's better to get you in with as little money out of pocket so we can make that move as easy as possible financially. I figure the more money I keep in your pocket, hey, you don't have to sweat about buying a gallon of paint once you move in. Very few things in life are as deflating as moving on a budget. So I try to keep as much money in your pocket as possible. So we're going to structure that deal for you, negotiate to your advantage with all of the sellers, and create the most favorable contract we possibly can to get you in with the lowest payment possible and with as little money out of pocket as possible. And I'm going to help you navigate that approval all the way to the end. Okay. If I need to step in and kind of have a, have a one-on-one with a loan officer to get your deal where it needs to be, I'm happy to do that. Okay. Before I got back into selling real estate, 10, 13 years ago, I spent over 25 years in the mortgage world. That's how I learned to tap into a lot of these programs. That's how I can have these high-level conversations with some of these loan officers. And most importantly, I'm going to help you keep those numbers where you were promised in the beginning at the time of closing. Because, like I said, no one likes surprises. At least I don't. The older I get anyways. All right. So with that being said, where do we go from here? You know what? Let me start answering some questions. What kind of questions do we have out there? I've been going on and on for about 45 minutes now, kind of racing through this. Let me give you my link to my calendar right here where you can book a call. I always tell people, please book a call as soon as possible. My calendar tends to fill up after these webinars, so it's not uncommon for me to be a phone jockey for the next 3-4 days trying to catch up from these webinars. Let me go back and see what kind of questions. Okay, so Victoria, there are several programs. If you're looking for several acres, I'm a big fan of the USDA loan. Doesn't give you any money, but it does allow you to buy with zero down. Very flexible on credit, goes down to 580 credit scores. So that might be something that you might want to keep on your radar. Do me a favor, schedule a call with me. Happy to learn your situation and we can kind of curtail, because I always like to get people not approved for one program. I like to have at least 2 or 3. And the reason I say that is every now and then, sometimes these programs run out of money. And the last thing I want to do is get everybody excited for a move and then have the program gone. We want to have a plan B or a backup. Okay. Yep. So you live in Detroit right now? Great. All right. All right. What other questions do we have out there? All right. Are you still with me? April, Bassam, Delasia, Dion, Jeremy, anybody out there? All right. Okay. So where do we go from here? I always tell people first thing to do, schedule a call. I want to learn what your goals are. Okay. If your goal is to own a home in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, doesn't matter to me. Okay. I need to learn your situation. I always tell people, I really want to find out what's holding you back. Okay. Is it the confidence? Do you just maybe you don't believe in the programs? Maybe your question, because I'll tell you what, I there's always self-doubt in everyone's mind, whether these things are too good to be true, which I can assure you they're not. I'm here week after week. Um, you, there's I've got plenty of people that have purchased homes with me. In fact, there were a few more people that I did not go over here. Let's go back here. Here is April. It's another great story. April and James, great couple. They bought a home on Philadelphia and Detroit. They actually qualified for the very similar program to Emily. Purchased it with this was actually, I think it was an $80,000 house. Okay. So every now and then I get someone that says, oh, I don't deal. Well, there you can. It's hard to find anything below 80,000 that's quality right now that actually works. But this house was right at 80,000. And I got to tell you, James was all over getting the lowest payment. Okay. So, and he would appreciate that. James is April's husband. So they qualified for 25,000 from the city of Detroit, the 3% gift, $5,000 closing cost grant, $500 appraisal grant, and they were able to get 32,900. I think their payments came in at like $600 a month. The taxes were really low because they were in an empowerment zone. So, actually, I love catching up with them. James is actually a writer. He writes stories about you can look him up. He's got a pretty good collection of about 10 different books that he has out on Amazon right now. Stories about his shenanigans growing up in the city. And he's turned them into like superhero short novels, which are very interesting reads. So I only wonder what it'd be like to be a day in the mind of James, because the way things that he can come up with, very creative guy. But anyways, very happy for April and James. All right, let's see what kind of questions we've got in here now. Good. Thanks for booking the call there. 6 months. Bassam, listening. Hey, thanks, Bassam. A credit repair company. Okay. So I am not a huge fan of a credit repair company until we've talked. Okay. And the reason I say that is, do me a favor, go and here is a link to my credit repair webinar. Do me a favor, go and register for that, or just schedule a call. Okay. And the reason I say that is credit repair companies are a good thing if your credit scores are in the low 500s or lower. Okay. If they're in the mid 500s or higher, I can usually coach you up. Okay. There's nothing cheap about credit repair companies. Some charge 100. Lexington Law, is charging up to $200 right now for their premium plan. So I find that you can do a lot of those things yourself. Okay. But I need to know what's on your credit first. So schedule a call, go on to Credit Karma, know where your credit is, and I can usually coach you there. But go to my credit repair webinars. There are a lot of do's and don'ts. Okay. What I don't like about the credit repair world is all they do is try to fix the bad stuff in the past. Okay. And they do it by the way of taking advantage of the Fair Credit Reporting Act by challenging everything. And basically, there's a loophole that if you challenge something on your credit, the credit reporting agencies only have 30 days to validate it and get back to you. So it used to be where everything was done through the mail, and 30% of the time, 33% of the time, they wouldn't be able to meet that timeline and they would have to remove the information. Well, now since technology is evolved, those things don't work as well as they used to. And a lot of the credit repair companies are reporting those self-generated letters from National Credit Care, Lexington Law as frivolous, and they're not doing it anymore. So that's for those reasons. I don't really like people to take that because it's a financial sucking sound and it's a time sucking sound. So I always tell people, let me go through your credit with you. I can tell you where the low hanging fruit is with regards to how to get a quick spike in your score. Remember how I said they focus on getting rid of the things? It's just as important to build new credit as it is to tackle some of the old stuff. Now, if your credit is in that mid 500s and up, I can tell you how you can challenge those things just by clicking a few buttons on Credit Karma and building some credit tools with some of the credit tools I have. There's credit cards that we can use to build, secured loans that we can do. There's a lot of ways to get a quick spike in your score. In fact, my credit repair webinar is titled How to Get Your Score Up 60 Points in 60 Days, and that's conservative. You follow the things on my credit repair webinar, I've had people have their scores go up 100 points in 60 days. Okay. It just depends on what kind of baggage you have. So there is the link to my credit repair webinar. Okay. So it may or may not. Now, if the City of Detroit grant program comes around, I got people approved on that program with credit scores down to 520. So if the grants come around again, that's where we can start racking it up. Bassam, look forward to it. Dion, are there any hardship grants? Well, I guess it would depend what the hardship is. I don't know. For housing, these are all about purchasing grants and down payment assistance. So I don't know where, what your hardship would be, but there are some hardship grants available through different municipalities. So it depends on what the hardship is. I would say schedule a call with me. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Jeremy Stoudemire. No relation to James, are you? So almost 700, great. If your scores are almost 700, you fit into the arena where we can start stacking up things. Rhonda is asking, one is at a fair and the other two are poor. Why are not all the same? Well, when it comes to credit, Rhonda, not all credit companies report to all the same bureaus. So for example, most creditors only report to two of the three credit bureaus. So for example, there's TransUnion, there's Equifax, and there's Experian. Now, if you have a car loan through Ford Motor Credit, they're only going to report to probably two of the three of those credit reports. The same with most creditors, only report to two or three. And the reason that is they have to pay. They pay to report that information. So they don't want to pay to have to report to all three. So they just report to two of the three. Now, there are some credit building tools that report to all three. And if we take advantage of it, we want to use those. So that's why your scores will be different. So what we want to do in the mortgage world, most of the programs focus on your middle score, at least all of the down payment assistance and grants that I work with. Okay. There are some programs that might average your scores or take weighted averages and things like that, but that's not how down payment assistance and grants work. The down payment assistance and grants, typically you're going to focus on your middle credit score. So if you have credit scores that are 500, 580, and 620, we don't care about the 500. We're just focusing on the two higher ones, and we want to make sure they are in the strike zone of where we can get you approved for whatever program we're trying to shoot for. Make sense? Okay. Same here. I hope that explains it. Jeremy, not sure you're saying, can you teach me how to get your scores up higher, or happy to teach you how to tap into these different down payment assistance and grant programs. What I always tell people is go out there and use my app, nodownpayment.app. Go out there, get a feel for what neighborhood you want to land in. Okay. Yeah. Maybe go to my website, find some houses, take those addresses, plug them into the No Down Payment app. You'll see what programs are out there. Schedule a call with me. I'll tell you exactly what to do, exactly how to structure it, get you pre-approved. I mean, don't know what your timeline is. Most people, I can usually go from start to finish and have you in a house in 60 days. And thank you, Bassam. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to give you as much educational content as you can. Try to give you the information that I wish somebody would have showed me several years ago. So anyways, with that being said, Jeremy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So any other questions? We are approaching the 8 o'clock hour. Gosh, we still have quite a few people on. Any questions? Don't be shy. No judgment here. Ask whatever you like. And let me give you one more. Here is a link to book a call with me. I'm going to give you, for those of you that hung on as long, because I know I used to be a pretty shy guy with these things. Not anymore. Anyways, I'm going to give you my cell phone number for hanging around. 248-252-7283. If you don't want to book a call, you can always call me on my cell phone. Now, keep in mind, I'm a phone jockey. I am on the phone all the time. My wife calls me a chatty Cathy to date ourselves, but I really do enjoy getting to know people on the phone and just trying to find ways that we can introduce value into their lives to make things better with home ownership. So I really, really enjoy carving out 20 minutes is typically what I carve out for every phone call. Sometimes it goes up to 30 minutes. But I would tell you, if you call me and I don't answer, please leave a message or shoot me a text and say, hey, John, can you call me at your first available opportunity? A lot of the phone calls that I have on my calendar, everybody's busy. Their schedules get moved around. So people have to change their appointment times and things like that. So I understand. I get it. So I'm just honored that people carve out the time, especially like right now, Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock, middle of the summer. And we've got 30, 40 people on a webinar. To me, that's awesome. So Maya, you are welcome. So thank you for showing up tonight. Anything I can ever do for your friends or family, I love helping people with real estate. Do me a favor, pass my information along. So I'm all about paying it forward. And thank you so much, Dion. That just made my night there. So anyways, and I understand everybody's got hurdles, everybody's got hiccups in life, and but all we can do is just keep moving forward. That's what we're here for. It took me a long time to realize that my passion was to be here to help. And when I found that, when I discovered that about 10, 13 years ago, my life was so much happier now. So now I get to help people all day, have fun doing it, meet new people all the time. And I forget that sometimes I'm here to sell houses for people. And I don't really think I sell houses. I think I'm here to keep people from making mistakes and trying to get out of that renting rut. Because right now, unfortunately, people are giving up on home ownership. There was an article out this week, first-time home buyers are basically at a 30-year low right now. There are 50% less first-time home buyers in the market than there were 30 years ago. That's a crazy statistic. So we're seeing a whole generation giving up on home ownership. Now, oddly enough, most of the people that I work with, they tend to be, I don't know, probably 40 to maybe 65. I just turned 60 this year. So, so a lot of the people in that age group kind of get it. But I find that the younger ones are giving up. Like my kids are 25 to 35. And for whatever reason, that whole generation either thinks that they can do it and they don't want the responsibility, which that's another discussion. There are a lot of people that don't realize, they think that they need to have 20% down. They need to have all the closing costs. So they don't even think they can do it. I am here to tell you, we routinely do this. So if you have any questions or doubts, I'm always happy to put people in touch with previous customers. Heck, I would give you April's phone number to call. I won't do it on this forum, but there's plenty of people that I have helped over the past years. So look forward to helping you and your family any way possible. So so any other questions tonight before we call it an evening? All right. Well, April, Siobhan, Delisha, Dion, LL, Orlando, Rando, Rhonda, Samsung, and WingTech is a new one. That's probably a different cell phone provider or phone. Don't know. Anyways, I thank you all for hanging in there as long as you did tonight. Samsung. Okay, Mitch. Hey, thanks for Mitch. I appreciate that. So any questions I can ever answer for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am here every Wednesday, for the most part, at least 3. I try to make it 4 times. I'm trying to do this every Wednesday for people. So if you have any friends or family members that are basically stuck in that renting rut, or any kids for that matter, my gosh, I deal with a lot of the parents. So if you, thank you, LL, I appreciate it. You are welcome. So pass my information along. So always nice to meet someone new and learn their story and see how we can help someone become a homeowner. So thank you all very much for watching this evening, and hope our paths cross again soon. And please book that call when you get a chance. Actually, I'll put that link in here one more time before we break, and you'll get some reminders from my automated texting system to ask you to book a call. So take me up on it. If even if you don't think you're moving today or tomorrow, let's set up a plan for when. I mean, I just hung up with somebody about an hour and a half ago that's not moving for 6 months. Happens all the time. Okay. So in 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, doesn't matter. So thank you all very much for attending, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good night. Okay. Hey, I see some questions here on the Facebook stream. Jennifer, I don't know if you're there trying to buy a house. My credit is now the issue. Jennifer, let me give you a link to my credit building webinar. And I apologize. It's hard for me to hit the chats on all of these platforms. Facebook. So Jennifer, please book a call. Let me give you that link here. There you go. Cornell, how much do you know about 203K loans? Cornell, 203K loans are great. There's 2 different types of 203Ks. There's they have a mini where for improvements below 35,000, and Actually, I think that might have gone up to 50. I'm not sure. They did revise it a couple of months ago. So, and then there's the other one. So it depends on what type of 203K loan you're looking for. But I will tell you, they are an uphill battle. Okay. And by the time you're done with the 203K, you're probably not going to like anyone. But just the same, if you do need a 203K loan, there is only one company that I would work with, and reach out to me. I'm happy to make that introduction for you. The reason I'm not a huge fan of the 203Ks, I mean, if you have if you have a property that needs to be rehabbed, it and the value's there, it makes sense. Okay, it's a great tool that way. The problem that we run into is that when you do the 203K loan, it has to be done by a licensed contractor, all the improvements. It can't be done by yourself. And I find that right now, contractors are charging handsomely to do any type of work. So I find that it almost blows up the budget for the 203K loans. So do that. So now, when it comes to construction loans, there are a couple of credit unions. There's one, Lake Michigan Credit Union, that does a great construction loan. But again, those, and I mentioned it earlier, the credit markets are changing a little bit for some of those construction loan products, because those are portfolio products. And as the market starts to shift and as the credit markets change, they really tighten up on those construction loans. Okay. So, and I caution people taking out a construction loan in an environment that we might be running into. And the reason I say that is, right now, most builders are trying to liquidate. They're trying to get all their spec homes gone. They're not breaking ground on new subdivisions at the rate that they did, because we are possibly approaching a correction phase for real estate. Now, I'm not suggesting that prices are going to go down. In fact, the way the rental market is right now, that's certainly, in my mind, going to continue to prop up that segment below 500,000. But when you start doing the construction loans, it becomes a little bit more challenging when we start to get into that market shift that I think we're naturally going to be experiencing. So we are on in my opinion, 2012 to 2025, we're on a 13-year run right now of good times in real estate. We are well overdue for a softening or correction, for lack of better words. So, and it's already starting in other areas of the country. Michigan's just usually the last one to the party when it comes to things like that. If past history is any indication. So for that reason, I don't know that I would be recommending construction loans right now, and the other thing is that right now it's hard to find lots too. So, but I would tell you, Cornell, schedule a call with me. Happy to go over your situation. Who knows? Maybe you've got a piece of land that you already own. Maybe you have a builder you're working with, or you have family members that are in construction. All of those things, that's a game changer. It may be well worthwhile then. You might be stepping into some instant equity. So not knowing your situation is hard for me to say. All right. Any other questions? Looks like they were all on Facebook tonight. So I apologize. It's kind of hard for me to hit all these platforms at once. Well, Jennifer and Cornell, I hope I answered your questions there. Hope you're still on. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Here is my cell phone number, 248-252-7283. That is the easiest number to get a hold of me. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you very much for attending this evening, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good night.